Hello, and welcome back to 100% Real with Ruby. So, today I have the wonderful Kathy here, and I did an episode on her podcast, which you could have maybe would have heard on my podcast when I did that, when I uploaded it to mine as well. So, you could give that a listen, but it's the same story that everyone is telling themselves, everyone is struggling with. It's the same bottleneck that everybody faces in their journey to actually seeing their goal physique. And that's the fact that they don't realize that you can't just keep pushing less food and more activity. Like, if you honestly take a step back and think about it, what's going to happen from there? Like, if you're pretty much being told you can only eat, let's just say for numbers sake, 1,000 calories, and that's what you stay on that whole time, well, you mentally tell yourself that's what you need to stay on the whole time. Where is there to cut from there? If less food and more activity is the way to get there, where is there to go less from there? And if that's what you're sticking to the whole time, are you really sticking to it 100%? Or are you not tracking some things? Are you slipping in some bites and chews? Like, how many of you lick this spoon of peanut butter after you've just spread it onto a piece of bread? Like, that shit adds up. So here with me today, Kathy is going to talk about how it is not just about eat less, move more. And sometimes it really depends on you getting real with yourself and realizing that sometimes you do need to eat more. And sometimes you need to actually keep your weight stable or try to maintain at a higher amount of food first before you try to get this instant gratification of, oh my God, I'm this many sizes smaller, because that's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to get any more progress downwards until you reverse to then go forward. So I'll let you take it away from there.
All right. So I'm 54. I just turned 54, and I did this cycle for so long. So I know our clients are a little bit different, but then they're the same. But my clients or myself, we've just been doing this shit for longer. So it's even more ingrained. So if your listeners can just take this advice and just save yourself 20 to 30 years of dieting and not getting results. I mean, the thing is when you do cut calories and you do increase your exercise, then it does work. But you paint yourself into a corner by eating less and exercising more, and then you don't have anywhere to go. So it was really counterintuitive for me when I heard that you need to eat more to actually lose weight. And I was just, that's not how that works, right? And so it wasn't until I actually got educated on it, got into a coaching program myself, with the nutrition coaching, and with my coach, Jeremiah Bear, who you might have heard of from Ruby. And, he gave me the calories, and I said, but I'm not going to lose weight on these calories. So he just said, stick with the program. And so I wasn't truly in a reverse at that time. So I was actually able to lose weight on higher calories. But when I see women who are 150 pounds eating 1,200 calories and they're wondering why they can't lose weight, you're not going to be able to lose weight at those lower calories. If you're not losing weight now, you're not going to be able to lose weight at lower calories. Yeah, you might be able to reduce for a couple weeks and then have an effect. But if your maintenance calories are at 1,800 and you're at 1,200, you have a huge gap of nutrition that you're not giving your body. Your body needs this regardless of what you think it needs. Your body still wants this nutrition, and you not giving it is not doing yourself any favors. In fact, it's downregulating your metabolism. And as you get older, these things start to come under a big spotlight. So when you're younger, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you can get away with a lot more. But as you head into your 40s and get into your later 40s and 50s, then it really starts to make a spotlight on lifestyle changes and what are you doing with your nutrition and what are you doing with your exercise. And it just becomes really apparent that something isn't working. So staying at this, I can only eat 1,200 calories. If you believe that, but you're not losing weight, then that isn't true. So I always just tell my clients, like, wouldn't you rather be eating maintenance calories and not losing weight? If you're not losing weight at all, wouldn't you rather be eating more calories than not? And they just look at me and they're like, yeah, but I won't lose weight. Like, you won't be able to lose weight until we do get you up to those maintenance calories. Wouldn't it be more fun to have all this food? Yes, but then I'll get fat. So there's this whole thing. So the thing with the reverse diet is, it really depends. What I never know how somebody's going to respond. You're either going to put on a couple of pounds, you're either going to stay at your current weight. You might have that initial weight gain just by having more food in your digestion, by having more carbs, more water in your body, and then that flushes out. Or some people lose weight because their body is starting to get the food. The body says, oh my God, she's feeding me. Now we don't have to store this fat anymore. And so they lose weight. You can never tell what's going to happen with that client, but you are not going to gain pounds and pounds of fat. You'd have to eat 3,500 calories over your maintenance. Now, granted, you've downregulated your maintenance a little bit, but it would take a lot of calories to actually put on a pound of actual fat. So scale weight might go up, but body circumference should not go up.
That you brought up an important point there where before you even started talking about everything is that not our clients might not be the same. I have a lot of older ladies going through menopause in my client list. I have people from all different ages going through the same thing. And that's what we were talking about before I pressed record. Regardless of whether you're starting overweight or at an average weight, the body's physiology is the same. Your metabolism adapts the same way. You can be overweight and be struggling on such low food because all you've been doing is wearing yourself down, because your metabolism does adapt and it turns down systems. Now, when Kathy said you'll have to go over 3,500 calories, there is actually some nuance to that too in the literature. And that's sometimes it takes more, because as you start to eat more, if you're in such a downregulated state, your body will start to expend more energy. It starts to do its functionings properly. So instead of having your current maintenance at 1,100, 1,200 calories, as soon as you start to eat more, your body starts to rev up its systems. It starts to burn a lot more. And then you naturally have a upregulated metabolism from the get-go. And that's exactly why her clients don't know what to expect. She doesn't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. And that's why I can't promise jack shit. She can't promise jack shit. It's the process of going through it and realizing you're sick of your own shit. You've been stuck here for however many long. You said it yourself, it could take this many weeks. It could take this many months. People just want results yesterday, but they don't realize you just wasted in inverted commas this many years of your life doing whatever it was that you were doing. What is it to actually do it the right way moving forward? Because you will see results, and you've seen it with your clients. You've had clients drop off from you because they were sick of your bullshit of force feeding them and making them fat. But then the ones that stuck through, by the way, they didn't actually get fat. It's just that you're a hypochondriac, you're a female, and you can't deal with the scale going up by a little bit. And that's just the harsh truth. It's reality. Even I used to be like that when I was in my own crazy mindset of I'm chasing the scale going down for body comp and for my stage because I was competing. I knew I was really freaking lean, but going on the way up, even just seeing the scale go up freaked me out because I was so used to seeing it go down. And that is so normal. You're not chasing fat loss anymore. You lose your identity. Who am I even anymore? I'm not this person trying to lose weight. I'm not waking up on the scale to try and see it go down anymore. And this is why I hate the scale, because you lose that, you lose that connection with how things make you feel and how you truly feel going through life. You'll have more energy. And I had one of my clients say to me, I've never felt this much energy before. Like I've never felt like she was for the first time not exhausted by the end of the week because she took one extra rest day. And that's exactly why eating more works. You're going to go on about this as well because you went through the same shit. This is why eating more works and doing less works. You're going to have a lot more energy left by the end of the week. If you think about it, you burn about 200 to 400 calories, probably. Some people don't even burn that much in an exercise session because they don't know how to train hard. But that is what a typical person burns, between 200 to 400. Some might burn 150, but that's the average. You burn that much in a training session. Now, let's say you are so freaking screwed the whole week because your energy is low, you're running on empty, you're underfueling yourself, then you're binging, then you're feeling like shit, then you're restricting, and then you're burning yourself out of the gym again. And then you try to go behind your coach's back and do some HIIT workouts, run on the treadmill at the end, whatever it is, you're going to be then burning a lot less during the day. Therefore, what you think is you expending more energy is actually you expending less energy. And if you think that that 1 hour in the gym is you being active, it's not. You are still sedentary. You're just an exercising couch potato. The only reason I remembered that phrase is because I did a Canva on it. And I'm like, I forgot I called it an exercise couch potato. You are an exercising couch potato. But then there are people that actually have busy lifestyles. And you can be a testament to this. If you're running around after the kids, if you're doing this, doing that, you're always on your feet. That is a stress. That is activity in itself. And then if on top of that lifestyle of being a crazy woman, doing all these different things that us women do, because that's just what we do, you're now training really hard. You're now trying to train even harder on top of the training really hard. And you're probably not even training hard. You're just thinking that more effort means that you're training hard. You're not doing better with less, if that makes sense. You need to do less but better. But you're just doing all of this shit. Now you're not fueling it. What's your body gonna do?
It can't keep up. So, and then you start to see like the side effects, like libido goes down. You start your hair, your skin, your nails, that all changes. Digestion issues, bloating, constipation. You start to see food intolerances come up. Again, like mood and brain fog and memory loss. And this is all your metabolism adapting because it's not at its ideal place where it wants to be, which is at those maintenance calories.
So you've been through this before. Like I mentioned this on the podcast that you would have heard Kathy on before. If you haven't, then I'm going to have to find out what number it is and put it down in the description below. But I mentioned how I saw her pop up on my other podcast guest interviewer, Jeremiah's feed, of someone that, here's the thing, people think that you just do this fat loss phase and you have your dream body, but it doesn't work that way because you will never get your dream body in one fat loss phase. Mate, I went to the extremes of getting on stage 8 times. And it wasn't until 2 years after even starting my first cut for stage that I actually started to see abs pretty much year round. Like I had that much time to finally get that development. It took all those, like I didn't even do it properly. If I did it properly, I would have a much better body right by now, pretty much. And that's what we're trying to save you from. Like you need to go through the phase of, okay, let's get you leaner first. Because if you're starting off with a lot of body fat, then we need to focus on that. But the caveat is if you're already hardly eating anything, if you're doing all of the activity, then we need to take a step back to take a step forward. But yes, our priority is still getting you leaner first. But there's just that pre-fat loss phase that you need to do. You need to do that primer phase. Without that primer phase, there is no successful fat loss phase. It's as simple as that. You need to do the primer phase before the fat loss phase. We're not saying we're anti-diet. We don't want you to lose weight. No, we're saying you need to do the work first. Then work first.
Yeah. Do the training. Yeah. If you were going to run a marathon, you wouldn't go run a marathon right now. You would need to train for it and work up to that, earn your right to diet, right? You have to make sure that you have everything in place, that you're measuring properly, that you're adhering properly, that you're entering these things correctly. And that's all part of the training, you know, making sure you're drinking enough water, making sure that you're supporting your digestion, making sure that you're, you know, getting in some vegetables for, you know, wouldn't hurt. Drinking enough water and getting enough sleep.
That's actually the funniest thing ever, because that's the thing that most people don't do. They don't. How important is protein? Most people do not get in enough protein, and protein is, I put a post up on this today. Protein is even more important for fat loss, because not only does it keep you satiated, it is it's the least likely to be stored as fat. As that's just one of the many benefits of protein. A lot of people aren't eating enough vegetables. A lot of people aren't eating enough real foods. Like, there are so many, like, you need to earn your place on the pyramid of how minute you want to get into the details of fat loss. Like, you don't need all these fancy things. It's just
You don't.
doing the basics.
Beautiful.
And as I was saying about Kathy, she was not super overweight, but she had a lot of body fat compared to muscle, hardly any muscle. And you weren't doing proper strength training. You thought HIIT was the way to go. You thought cardio was the way to go. I remember you saying you were running bloody bullshit laps, doing stuff.
Marathons.
Yeah. running marathons, running crazy stuff, thinking, oh, I'm a runner, I'm going to be naturally skinnier. Like, that's the thought of so many people. And I know people that run for the sake of thinking it's going to make them skinny or keep them skinny. It's like, no, put that energy into building muscle and you will have a bigger metabolic flame. If you focus on building your body instead of shrinking your body, you'll, like, it doesn't matter whether you're obese, whether you're normal scale weight, because you can be normal scale weight and still have a higher body fat percentage, like Kathy did, except she was on like the higher end body fat percentage, like I said. And then she put effort into, okay, you first went into a primer phase, I assume. I'll let you talk about that.
We actually didn't, because I was all over the place. So I was one of those, like, I was a binge and restrict. I was classic 1,200 calories during the week, and then weekends it was on and it was on. So I was never in really a deficit. So it actually worked for me. It actually worked because I was over consuming calories, but I was exercising too much, right? I was doing too much cardio. And then, like, I had a pretty decent workout program, but literally it would be like, I would do like 6 to 8 things for my butt, and then like 5 things for my shoulders, and then some ab exercises. And then, I don't know, let's see what, you know, this Instagram, you know, Fitspo model does. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that too. Right. So there wasn't anything really regimented. So once, like, you know, I got my programming squared up, and again, increasing protein. Like, when I first started, I was like, holy shit, this is a lot of protein, you know, and it took a little bit because it's not the natural, you know, you open up your pantry or your cupboard, there's not a lot of protein in there, you know, nuts, but nuts aren't protein, nuts are fat, you know, so it has to be planned. And so once I made that shift, like, in and of itself, just having protein is going to tighten up your body. You're going to just feel different. And by prioritizing protein over carbs, then I just felt just tighter. Like, I could just tell things were starting to, the fat was starting to come off. So the protein is a big component of it. People just always say, like, oh God, isn't that too much protein? What? You don't think that having, you know, 600 grams of carbs is a lot? You know? Actually, that's an over exaggeration. 600 calories of carbs, like, it's no problem to have that, to have a sleeve of Oreos. You don't give 2 shits about that. But when somebody says, hey, have 6 ounces of chicken, you lose your minds. Like, come on.
It's like that. That's exactly why when you prioritize protein, it immediately makes it, like, you immediately shift your lifestyle to one that's of a leaner lifestyle, because it takes a lot more thought. It takes a lot more preparation. And the training she was doing, like you heard, it was fluff. It wasn't proper structured strength training. It was all, let's just copy what the Insta hoes are doing. And yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't the fact that, like, it wasn't, let's reverse on paper, but she wasn't given 1,200 calories. She was given high calories, which a lot of people struggle with. Like, that in itself is, look, like, you're aiming for 1,200 calories. The fact that you're getting told to eat like 1,800 or whatever, that is still a reverse on paper if you think that you were eating 1200. But we have to face the fact that a lot of people aren't really sticking to what they're eating. Like it might not be over. Here's the science that everyone needs to realize. You might not be overeating every single weekend, but every single time you overeat, your body's metabolism is at that 1200 calorie level. As soon as you overeat, you've already downregulated your metabolism. You've already altered the enzyme functions in your body to start preferentially storing body fat. You become anabolic to body fat, not anabolic to muscle tissue. So as soon as you overeat, that's going to be more likely to be stored as fat every single time you overeat. So then every single time you try to do these crash diets, you try to go back to 1200 calories, you try to do more HIIT sessions, you are inevitably becoming a smaller, fatter version of yourself until you can't become smaller anymore, that you just become a potato.
Yeah, you're decreasing your muscle throughout this process. And every time you're just adding more fat onto your body. And so and you've seen this with, especially in the 40s, late 40s, it really becomes apparent because you go through these cycles so many times. You're decreasing muscle, right? You go into a crash diet, decrease muscle, decrease fat, gain it all back. It's all fat, but that muscle's gone. Do it again. All right. Lose more fat, lose more muscle, but you gain that 10 pounds back. It's more fat. And so now you're like, what the fuck happened to my body? Like what? I used to have shoulders. I used to have kind of a cute butt. And my belly is all over the place. Now it's all lumps and bumps and you don't even have that muscle tone anymore because after 40, that muscle's going away anyways. And if you're not working at it or feeding it, then it's just decreasing.
You went through that yourself, didn't you? And you said,
I totally did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you can talk about that part a little bit more because it's taken 3 fat loss phases now to finally start. Like, what are you maintaining on now?
For calories? Like my weight is like hovering right around 122. I expect to get up to about 130. Yes, I'm going to try and gain weight, but I'm going to try and gain muscle. But right now I'm maintaining at 1975, just under 2000.
So that's the thing. Like a lot of people don't realize just like how much their bodies can actually maintain on. Like the goal isn't let's try, like the point of a reverse has nothing to do with the scale. The point of reverse has to do with putting your body in a place to actually then lose body fat and build muscle and actually shape up, which is why I don't give a shit about the scale. I don't use the scale. The scale can go in the bin. What you want to do is actually focus on, okay, let's get your habits consistent. Let's get you maintaining where you're at in a good mindset. Everything is in line for you to now cut your calories back and start actually focusing on fat loss. But if you're not consistent, if your habits aren't there, if you're not prioritizing sleep, stress management, and all this other stuff, and if you do not know how to rest hard, then you're not in a place to do fat loss because fat loss is a stress on the body. Training is a stress on the body. If you can't rest, what's there to do about it? Like, you really prioritize your rest, don't you? Like, tell me about that, how you went from burning yourself out to now prioritizing rest.
Oh, I was like a spin instructor plus running marathons plus doing training. So it got to the point where my body was like, no, we're done. And I just woke up one day. I was always tired. I was always exhausted and I'm always sore, but that's good, right? That felt good. To the point, and just one day I just couldn't get out of bed. I was like, I don't have anything left. And I was like, uh-oh, trouble. So I forced rest for 2 months, which was insane. That's when I stopped running. That was an extreme case for sure. And so that was when I was 45 and I was just a hot mess. So I couldn't eat a lot of foods that I normally could have. I was just getting super bloated and my body was just breaking down. I was literally breaking down my body to try and I don't even know what I was trying to do.
You actually bring up a really important message there at the end. You lose what you're trying to do. You become so busy hating on where you are right now wanting to chase just doing more. Like you just become so busy doing and so focused and absorbed all your energy, all your mental everything into what you're eating, into what your body looks like, into how you hate your body, into all of these things, you actually lose the end goal. And I see that all the time. So then people will start wanting to run marathons, wanting to add in more days. It's like, wait up. What is your actual goal here? Are you trying to become the next top athlete? Or are you trying to actually look your best? Like, you lose sight of that end picture when you just don't have the mental, like you don't even slow down. You don't slow down at all to even look at it. And it was when she started slowing down, she realized, hey, my body's actually responding. And you mentioned it with your clients as well. When you had like a chat with them, they were like, I can't believe that I'm eating so much more weight. I'm eating so much more food. And I only gained a little bit of weight, but it went back down. Or I've only gained like a couple of pounds, which is 1 kilo, but eating so much more for that. And I went through the same thing. I was scared to death about upping my carbs once. And I freaked the fuck out to my coach when my scale weight went up 1 kilo, because he's someone that loves a scale weight. I'm like, do I really need to use a scale? Yes, I need that as data. That's why I hate the scale. But anyway, so it's like, but I'm not even emotionally attached to it now. I just use it and it's cool. But the thing is, that 1 kilo freaked me the fuck out. And he's like, cool, increase it more. What do you think that's going to tell me? But I trusted my coach. I did what he said. And then about 2 weeks later, he sent me my progress photo saying, look how much your body has changed. I'm like, fuck. He's like, how's your scale weight? I'm like, it's still sitting at one kilo heavier. It actually went 2 kilos heavier and then it bounced back to 1 kilo heavier. And he's like, yeah, well, put it this way. You're eating a lot more fruit now. You have a lot more carbs in your system. Your carbs hold a lot more water. I'm like, I already know all this shit. This is what I tell my clients. It's like everyone, like no one is immune to this stuff. Like it happened to me 3 years ago, like 3 years, not 3 months, 3 years. This is years in progress. And Kathy's been in this for years herself too. And I saw a photo of her before and she did have a lot of body fat. And here's the thing. She admitted to me at the start of this podcast, my clients just think it's menopause and I just let them believe that. Something like that. But here's the thing. A lot of people just want to blame everything when it's not menopause. Menopause makes it harder because of hormones, but biology is still the same. The hormones just make it harder. I'm going to let you talk about that too. And then she mentioned it as well. She doesn't even post out information or educational content anymore because people are so frustrated with where they are. They just want to know the answers to lose fat. So what does she do? She just promises them fat loss. She just promises them the end result. And this is what's wrong with our industry, because there are people out there doing it the wrong way and shoving you on cookie cutter plans, shoving you on run everyday programs. And that's not the answer, but that's what people want to hear. They don't give a shit about what the real science is. They just want to be told it is your menopause, come, I'll save you. Or it is the fact that your metabolism is broken and you're in starvation mode, come, I'll save you. Like, there is so much shit out there that people just believe. And this is why you guys need to stop looking in all the wrong places. You need to follow the stuff that is actually based on, like, it's actually backed up by other people that are saying the same thing. They walk the talk. And if your coach is constantly dieting, maybe you need to question that too. I saw that in a post and it's so true. But if they are constantly chasing fat loss and being lean and just always in a diet, then you need to consider that as well, because they aren't really walking the talk and there's no reason why you don't trust them. And I'll let you take that away as well, how these women come to you thinking that it's all about menopause and that you're going to give them this miracle pill, but really you're just giving them facts and science that applies to everybody.
Yeah. So so as far as the dieting goes, it goes in seasons. You can't always be in a diet. You have to be either in maintenance. There's fat loss, maintenance, and build. And so for me, I think I spend probably 4 months out of the year in a fat loss phase. And then I spend about 4 months out of the year in a maintenance phase. And I spend 4 months out of the year in a build phase. And so I am going to intentionally put on fat. Last winter, I put on 20 pounds. I had to take that fucking 20 pounds off and it was hard. So This year, I'm going to do it not as much and go a little bit slower. And just hopefully it's going to be like 10. I don't really care about what that number is, like whatever it is. I'm going to just try to keep it less than 20 this time. So, but what happened with that 20 pounds was completely different than what it looked like the first time that I lost 20 pounds. So I just did a recent photo shoot and I'm fucking jacked for a 53-year-old. And that's what it takes. But I know that a lot of my clients don't want to look like that. So I don't push that as much. With my program that I do have, my 6-week program, I stopped even saying that's a weight loss, because it's not. It's a lifestyle change, showing you what the process is to lose weight, which I just call it's a nutrition and exercise reboot. I even say you might not lose weight on this program, So, and I do intake calls and I say, like, I'm having the calls and every time I get on the phone with somebody, like, do you know what you're eating? And they're like, oh yeah, I eat plenty of protein. I'm like, all right, tell me, what'd you have this morning? Right. Well, I had my coffee and, oh, what time is it? 11. Yeah, I'll have my breakfast pretty soon, which will be, well, I didn't bring my lunch, so I'm going to get something from, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You haven't even eaten yet? So this isn't everybody, but this is a lot of people. Or they'll have, an egg white, a couple of egg whites on a bed of spinach, or, I hear a lot of, I eat healthy. So whenever I hear I eat healthy, I'm like, you mean you eat a salad? So, it's this diet culture that says that we should only be having this. I don't take any foods away from my ladies, right? Have what you want, enjoy life. Yes, make sure you're getting in your nutrition. If you have special considerations, then we will take that into effect. But this whole limiting belief that you can't have certain foods, these foods are here for a reason. You need to have an abundance of these foods. So I am trying to get out a different message that it is not all about always being in a diet. Yes, we can approach fat loss, but it doesn't have to be from a point of not sustainability, but not from a place of deprivation. That's the word I'm looking for. It should be from a place of abundance, right? And having access to all these foods that we have on this planet available to us, and not limiting yourself to only certain foods, or telling yourself that you can't have this or can't have that. You can, it's just a matter of working it in.
That is really important to remember too, because it's that mindset of I'm like not really eating much throughout the day that then leads to I'm going to snack on some nuts, or the person that says I'm a bottomless pit between dinner and bedtime, because it's all
of course you are.
You've hardly eaten throughout the day. Your body's going to want more food by the end of the day, or you're really tired, you have a sugar crash, and then as soon as you start eating, you're going to have that sugar crash more. But yeah, that's the biggest point to take away. Like, it's about abundance, not restriction. And as soon as you come from that mindset of abundance, you will never feel so deprived that you're going to just want to raid the pantry. And the biggest factor as well is to control your environment, because the same thing happens there. But if you could just sum everything up into the main takeaways for women who have tried all the diets, they think less is more, they just need to go harder, what is it that you will tell them?
Eat more calories, go to maintenance, increase your protein, start strength training if you aren't already, and trade in your cardio for walks.
That one didn't even cross my mind. That one is one of the most important ones. Like, walks are so undervalued. They're underrated. Walks actually put you into that parasympathetic system, which means your body is able to relax. And not only that, you're getting in cardio without putting so much taxation on your system that is going to stress it more. That is going to lead to everything we spoke about before. So you need to have your yin with your yang. Don't expect to have the whole picture if one of the things are missing. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So right. I thank you for coming on and I'm going to put your Instagram below. I would have said TikTok, but seeing as mainly on Instagram, I haven't figured out the TikTok thing yet. But I'll put your Instagram down below, and you will see for yourself that it is literally the same message of you need to eat more food. And even if it's not just eating more food, because we all know a calorie deficit is how you lose weight, like that's a no-brainer. But the mindset, just a simple shift in mindset of I need to eat more food, puts you into that mindset of abundance. Like you might not even be eating more food. And that's the thing that we both see with our clients. It's just that over time, eating more food in our brain means more consistency, which means we can actually maintain our body at higher calories, and we actually have a stable base to move from. You cannot expect to see fat loss without a stable base. Build the stable base, keep it stable for a while, and then you can go from there and chase the fat loss route. Because otherwise you're just trying to build on unsurfaced gravel, and there might be a pothole and you might fall through to friggin' Harry Potter world or some shit. But thank you for coming on. And is there anything else you wanted to say to end it?
No, thank you very much for having me. I'm so happy to have Ruby in my life.
We're both the over the top crazy people sometimes, but that's how life should be. You need to add color to your life and bring your inner child out. That's actually what I want to leave this conversation with. Bring your inner child out, because if there is some part of you or some part of your life that is lacking fun, you're going to be always looking for that thing that's missing, that thing that you feel is empty. And it's going to be turning to food, turning to shaming your body, turning to excessive exercise. Bring that child out in you and do things that you love. Like I heard people friggin' buying pinball machines or playing Xbox or whatever during lockdown, because that brought out the child in them and that gave them something instead of turning to food. Like, don't be afraid to revisit your childhood.
I love it.
Love you all, and I will see you on the next podcast.